So we are recording live today, folks. Law of Cosines, part 1. So we're going to have the same generic triangle, just like we did in Law of Sines. We're going to draw it. It's going to be ugly. And then we're going to use what's called Law of Cosines. Now, Law of Cosines has 3 different versions. But hopefully you notice that there's some very distinct similarities between the 3 versions. If you start with a squared, you end with angle A. If you start with b squared, you end with angle B. If you start with c squared, you end with angle C. So let's look at our first problem. We don't have a triangle. I need you guys to draw a triangle. Yeah. And then label it any generic way, A, B, and C. And then let's label what we have. So little a is 18. Remember, little letters are sides. So little a is across from angle A. He's down here, 18. Little b would be across from angle B. He's side, so he's 11. And then big C is angle C. He's at 58 degrees. So you'll notice the setup is very different from our setup yesterday. This is what we used to call side angle side in geometry. So anytime you notice you have side angle side, it has to be done with Law of Cosines. Now take a wild guess. Do you think I'm going to use the A, the B, or the C version of the formula with the given information? The C. Why'd you guess C? That's the angle you have. Very good. So we're going to use this formula right here. And it starts with little c squared. Now you guys don't know little c, so he's going to stay as a variable. Little c squared. And then a squared plus b squared. Order doesn't matter in this part because it's the commutative property. So if you flip these around and put 11 first, it doesn't matter. Minus 2 times the a times the b. These are all lowercase, so they're all sides. See, a times b. And then times the cosine of angle C, so times the cosine of 58. Now this looks really gross, but it's very simple to do on your calculator. If this just said, I'm just going to make this up, c squared equals 16, what would you do to solve that equation? You would square root both sides. Well, guess what, guys? It's the same thing. C squared equals a big chunk of mess. So I just need you guys to grab your calculator and type the square root of all of that stuff. Don't hit enter until the very end of the problem. And you can put parentheses around the 18 and the 11 right here, but don't add any extra parentheses to this problem. Make sure you're in degree mode. If you're in radian, you're going to get a very strange answer. So you can close it. It won't make a difference because nothing follows it. The question was, do we have to put parentheses after the 58? And I said it doesn't matter. What'd you get? 15.3. Okay? If you did not get 15.3, have your neighbor look at your calculator screen, see if they can identify what you typed wrong. Make sure this sign right here is a subtraction sign, not a negative symbol. That's where some of you guys messed up, I think, if you got it wrong. So I'm going to go to my picture. I'm going to fill in side C as 15.3. And now that I've done Law of Cosines, I have enough information to continue on and do Law of Sines. Remember from yesterday, when you start Law of Sines, you find the part of the triangle that's all filled out. So somebody who has their angle and their side filled in. Who is that? C. So we're going to start with sine of the angle, so sine of 58. Yes?
How would you type that in the calculator?
Exactly how it looks. Square root and then all that. Well, you just add these parentheses right here. You don't even need those. You can just leave them off. You can just say 2 times 18 times 11. That's fine. Okay, sine of 58 over 15.3 equals, now you have to make a decision, and I'm going to jog your memory about something. Probably shouldn't record this part. Okay, so in Geo, when you guys were doing side, angle, side, angle, side, angle, side, 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 what was the one postulate you couldn't use? Angle, side, side. And it wasn't because it spelled a bad word. There was an actual mathematical reason why you couldn't use it. I'm going to show a visual interpretation. Sorry for those of you in internet land, you can't see this. Okay, so the reason you can't use angle, side, side is because if you lock an angle and 2 sides that follow it. So let's say, I need another set of hands. Let's say I lock this angle down here and then I lock this side and this side. So they are not going to be any different sizes than what they currently are. This triangle can swing. We could make, like, this is not a good example, but we could make this triangle, and we can make another triangle. So we can make two different triangles in some cases. That's why your teacher couldn't let you prove that they were congruent using angle side side, because there's two different cases theoretically. That's called the ambiguous case of triangles. Ambiguous meaning there's no clear answer. So for that reason, when you guys go to big kid math, your teacher is going to make you calculate whether or not this is a particular triangle that has an ambiguous case. We're not going to go that far here in Algebra 2, but when you go to like pre-calc, possibly into trig, your professor or your teacher will make you calculate whether or not it'll show up as ambiguous. And if it does show up as ambiguous, you guys will have to do two separate problems, twice the work. Well, here in Algebra 2, I just want you guys all to do it the same way the first time. So write yourself a little note. And this is not going to be the case when you go to college, but for now, if you are doing Law of Sines and you have to make a decision, so you have to decide between two different sides, I want you to choose the smaller one. And I chose smaller because sines and S and S, S, S. Okay. So if you were to pick the larger one, it's possible you will have a different answer than me. And it's not that you're wrong, you just chose the ambiguous case. And I am being lazy technically in making you all do it the same way because I don't want to have to do every problem twice on my answer key. So when you are doing Law of Sines, I want you to choose the smaller. With that being said, I have to decide whether I want you guys to solve for angle B or angle A. And why B? Because it's smaller. So we're going to set up the sine of B over 11. Okay, I'm solving for the angle. Is this a 2-step on my calculator or a 3-step? 3-step. So on your calculator, you're going to type sine 58 times 11. And then you're going to divide by 15.3 and get some tiny little decimal. And at the very end, how do you undo the sign? Inverse sine of whatever that tiny little decimal answer was. Can someone tell me what they got for angle B?
36.6.
36.6, I heard. Okay. Did anyone else get 36.6? I'm hearing some, oh, some dissent. Okay. 37.6? All right. So we found 2 things. There's one more thing we need to find, and that's angle A. And that should be a really easy problem, because if you know 2 of the angles, can you find the third one by doing 180 minus the other 2? 80.
Wait, how did you know angle B was smaller?
The side was smaller, so the angle has to be smaller. 84.4? Did I get it right now? Okay, 84.4. Very good. As you can see, this is a lot of work. But the good news is it reinforces the concepts of Law of Sines. So if you weren't here, or you didn't get it, or you just really like Law of Sines, today's a good day. But are you with me? I like Law of Cosines better. I don't know why, I just do. I think it's easier. Okay, number 2. Well, I'm going to run out of room. Try to squeeze in a triangle down here somewhere. We are not going to do all these examples. We are going to run out of time and space. So label your triangle as some generic ABC. Angle B is 100. Little a is 12. And then little c is 13. Which version of the formula am I going to be using? We don't know. Oh, little c is 13. Yeah, it's over on that corner. Okay, I heard you guys tell me we're going to use the B version of the formula this time. And that's because they gave you angle B, so you have to use the B version. So the formula says little b squared. I don't know what he is, so little b squared equals, and then it's a squared plus c squared, the 2 other legs, but you can put them in any order you want. So 12 squared plus 13 squared minus 2 times 12 times 13 times the cosine of angle B. How big was angle B? 100. So on your calculator, all you got to do is type in the square root of that big old mess. Don't add any extra parentheses that you don't need. Don't hit enter until you are done, and you will get the right answer. I heard 19.2. Okay. Good. So that was little b. It says 19.2. It got cut off on your screen. 19.2, yep. So now we're going to jump to law of sines. What part of the triangle is all filled out? B. So we're going to set up sine of the angle, so 100, over 19.2 equals, and then I have to make a decision. Should I fill in A or C? A. Why am I filling in A? Because it's smaller. So sine of A, I don't know A, over 12. So on your calculator, this is a three-stepper. Sine 100 times 12. Then you're going to divide it by 19.2. You're going to have some tiny decimal. And then at the very end, because you need the angle, you're going to hit inverse sine of that little tiny decimal. Yep. You can hit second and then enter, and it'll pull up the whole answer for you. Or second negative symbol, I think. I said the wrong thing. Second negative symbol. All right, what'd you get for angle A? 38 even? Yes, sir.
What do you do with 19.2?
You divide by it. So this times this, divided by 19.2, and then inverse sine. I heard 38 degrees for angle A. So last step is always really easy here. 180 minus the two angles you know. 42. Thank you. If I had my life to live over again, I would have put fewer problems on this worksheet and more space. So here's the good news. We're going to start skipping around a little bit. So I'm going to do number 3 with you. We're going to skip number 4. So if your work needs to kind of lop over into number 4, go ahead. All right, draw your picture for number 3. Any generic triangle, ABC, and then label what you have. So little b is 56, little c is 40, and angle A is 62. Which version of that formula am I going to be using now? A. Very good. So I have no idea what little a is, so he's going to stay as a variable. But the rest of them I do know. So let's see, b is 56 squared, and then 40 squared, minus 2 times 56 times 40 times the cosine of my angle, which is 62. So on my calculator, you're just going to type the square root of that big old mess. And you're going to be tempted to not show work on your homework, but I'm here to tell you, like always, you have to show your setup, not just for, you know, my reasons, but if you go to check in the binder and you can't figure out why you have a wrong answer because you didn't show your setup, checking the binder is not very fun. What'd you get for little a? 51.3? Okay. So I'm going to go back and label on my picture. Now I'm ready for law of sines. What part of the triangle is all filled out? The A, good. So sine of A, which is 62, over his leg, 51.3. And then I have 40 and 56. We're going to go with C, 40. Good. Because it's smaller. So, whoa, it's not what I wanted. Sine of C, because we don't know the angle, over 40. So sine of 62 times 40 on your calculator. And then I want you to divide that by 51.3. You'll have a little baby decimal. And at the very end, inverse sine of that little baby decimal. Remember, you can do second negative symbol to pull up the answer. What was it? Thank you. So angle C equals 43.5, I heard. And the only one we have left to do is angle B, and that should be a quick subtraction problem. Help. 74.5. Okay. Very nice. Okay, you feel comfortable skipping a little bit? I like these. They're fun. Now, you notice law of cosines is split into 2 days. Today we are only working on the kind of law of cosines where it's side angle side, meaning you'll always solve for a side, a leg. But what else do you think theoretically I could solve for? An angle. That's tomorrow's lesson, and it's not as easy for calculator work, but it's the same setup, so in that respect it is easy. Okay, let's do maybe 1 or 2 more, and then is there applications at the back end of this? I can't remember. Any story problems at the bottom? Oh, well, that's lame. Okay, number 5. What was I thinking? No story problems. Oh, don't worry, there's some in your homework. Yay. Law of cosine story problems are the best, though, because it's like planes flying, or if any golfers in the room? There's a lot of golf story problems to do with law of cosines. Okay, so I'm on number 5. We're going to skip number 6, so if you need to write work over there, you can. Little a is 22. Little b is 35. And angle C is 42 degrees. I'm going to freeze the screen, except for the people who are on internet land. They're going to see what I'm doing. And you guys go ahead and try to set this one up. And we're going to stop at law of cosines. Once we find side C, we're going to meet up and make sure we're all on the right track. And then I'm going to freeze the screen again. So continue working ahead if you want to. So find C using law of cosines, please. Yes, sir.
How come all of it's not like one number or it's not all like 3?
Say again?
What?
What was your question?
How come they're not all filled in so I don't know?
Well, there's only one angle given to you, so you'll have to use that version. I'm going to steal an answer from somebody. Who's got the answer? I need help. Brittany, did you get the answer? For side C. 23.8. Sounds right. I've done this worksheet for like 7 years. I think I'd remember. Okay, I'm going to unfreeze the screen. Let's see if you got side C like Brittany and I did. I stole Brittany's answer, so. Did you get 23.8? Okay, then you're on the right track. I'm going to freeze the screen again. And you guys try setting up law of sines.
Isn't that just little c and
That's little c. I said the wrong thing, didn't I? I'm sorry. No sleep. Okay, so a sine. Okay, Brittany, can I steal your answer again? Whoa, that's a dyslexic's nightmare. Wow. Okay. I'm trusting Brittany. Did you get 38.2? Okay, good. So last thing we have to find is angle B. That should be an easy problem, but I can't subtract, so can someone do me a favor and find my third angle? 99.8. Okay. Okay, so that's law of cosines. I'm going to stop the video.